Hi, welcome to my new video. Today we're going to draw the street you see using two-point perspective. Are you ready? Okay, here we go. I start by drawing the horizon line. I draw this line as close to the bottom edge of the paper as possible. Then I draw a vertical line right here. This line divides the paper in half. I put a point at the intersection of the two lines and another point on the vertical line. These are the vanishing points we will use in the drawing. Let's draw the first building. I'm drawing the right edge of the building and I'm using the top vanishing point for that. For the top edge of the building, I use the bottom vanishing point. You may not understand the logic right now, but trust me, you'll get the hang of it when drawing other buildings. Don't worry. Now I will draw the second building. First, I will draw the left and right edges of the building. I use the vanishing point at the top. I use the bottom vanishing point for the top edge of the building. This is important. This line should be parallel to the horizon line or, in other words, to the top and bottom edges of the paper. Let's continue drawing the other buildings. The key point you need to know in this drawing is this. You should use the vanishing point at the top for the vertical lines of the buildings and the vanishing point at the bottom for the horizontal lines. In other words, when drawing the height of the buildings, use the vanishing point at the top, but when drawing the floors of the buildings, use the vanishing point at the bottom. Using this technique, draw all the buildings side by side along the street. It is up to you whether to leave space between the buildings or how tall they will be. Do it however you like. But there's one perspective rule you have got to remember. Objects appear smaller as they move further away from us. Therefore, you should reduce the width of the buildings as they move further away. Buildings close to you should be wide, while those further away should be narrow. Do not worry too much about the details of distant objects, as small details are not noticeable. You can draw distant objects with a few small touches. Just make sure they don't look strange. The number of buildings on the street, their height or width, is completely up to you. This drawing needs a lot of straight lines. If you find it hard to draw straight lines, use a ruler to help you. I will be back shortly. Okay, now I will add 2 tall buildings on the right and left sides of the street. These buildings are not on the main street and are probably on the back streets, but they are so tall that we can easily see their upper parts. I'm going to use the same rules for these too. Now it's time to draw the ground floors of the buildings. When drawing these floors, make sure they are higher than all the other floors of the buildings. This is because they are closer to you, and ground floors are usually higher due to shops, stores, or lobby areas. Have you noticed the lines here? They are horizontal because there is another street here. This street connects to the main street. Let's add the parts with the names of the shops or stores. There is just one last thing we need to add to make the buildings look more realistic: windows. First, I will draw something like a frame on the facades of some buildings. The windows will be inside these frames. You don't have to draw these, but it looks much better this way. Whatever you draw on paper, be sure to keep vanishing points in mind. Without their help, you are likely to make mistakes. And if you try to correct these mistakes later, it can be really tricky. And try to keep your lines soft and light while drawing. This way, if you make a mistake, you can easily correct it. At the end of your drawing, give your lines the darkness they deserve. I'm sorry, but this process will take a little of your time. Thanks for your patience. We are nearly at the next stage. Now let's start drawing the windows. As I said before, when drawing the horizontal lines of the buildings, use the vanishing point at the bottom. And when drawing the vertical lines, use the vanishing point at the top. As you go down, the windows get bigger. So increase the distance between the lines as you go down. You can draw the windows however you like. It doesn't matter how many windows there are, whether they are small or large, narrow or wide, short or long. Just make sure they don't look strange and that they follow the rules of perspective. I will add street lights towards the end of the drawing. This will add more detail to the drawing. I will obviously need to draw these street lights according to the rules of perspective. I know it might seem a bit overwhelming, but trust me, if you stick to the perspective rules I mentioned, it's actually pretty straightforward. Alright, that's it. Thank you for watching. I would really appreciate it if you subscribe to my channel. Have a good day. Goodbye.